Joe, the third weekend in October, Bama versus Tennessee. The cigars are going to be lit for one of these teams, and wonder who it's going to be. Joe, when you preview and you look at Bama versus Tennessee, how do you see it going down?
Alabama is also a 9.5-point favorite going into this game on FanDuel. I thought this was pretty interesting. Tennessee has not won on the road at Bama since 2003. So there is a lot of pressure on this game. As you said earlier, both of these teams need to win this game because it would create a lot of complications for needing to go unscathed and not having any failures the rest of the year. Blake, to this point, though, one thing that has been the most notable for Alabama that we've talked about, they have been the most rapidly improving team in college football. They have become one of the best pass defenses in college football, only allowing 136.5 yards per game. They have also, to this point, had a ton of big offensive production through the air as Ty Simpson has caught his rhythm. And this is coming into a situation where Tennessee's defense, despite them winning and scoring at least 34 points in 3 of their SEC games, their 3 SEC games this year, they have all been one-possession games. The reason for that, Blake, they are abysmal on defense at the current moment. And it has nothing to do with the talent on the roster. They're just giving up a lot of big plays. 91st in EPA per dropback allowed, 87th in EPA per rush allowed. They are getting torched. Blake, I said this before the Vanderbilt game. I said this before the Missouri game. Both of those teams, Vanderbilt and Missouri, had very similar stats to Tennessee's defense, where it was beyond 80. It was in the bottom half of college football. I said that Alabama's passing attack would overwhelm those defenses because of the rhythm that they're currently in. And even though Alabama did not put up crazy passing yards against Missouri, they still made big plays when they needed to, and they converted when they needed to. Blake, plain and simple, I do not feel good about Tennessee's defense trying to slow down Ty Simpson with all the energy he's got right now.
You know, Tennessee fans would say, well, we don't have McCoy. We don't, our secondary's been banged up.
Which is a fair excuse.
It's a fair excuse, but you got to start talking about the reality of the situation here. I do ask, though, what's the health status of Ryan Williams, who didn't catch a pass versus Missouri? Jam Miller comes out with a concussion. What's his health status? Is he going to be able to go after a week? And I look at this situation and say, if you're just talking about what we've seen from Bama over the last 5 weeks versus what we've seen with Tennessee over the last 5 weeks, you sit there and say to yourself, this Tennessee secondary has been god-awful. They're 121st in the country in passing yards allowed. They're tied for 104th in the country in scoring defense. They have not been good. They're in the bottom half on third down and getting off the field. They're 100th in the country in total defense. The only thing I guess you could say they've really done somewhat okay has been in run defense, but even that is 59th in the country. All that being said, I just ask the question, what is Bama going to look like without the injuries? Or with the injuries, potentially. And I don't know if it matters because I do think this secondary is about to get cooked. And I think Bama is a completely different team at home than what they've been on the road. And I said this in the post game or post preview. The Bama team last year goes on the road and finds a way to lose to Missouri. This team's been very good at home. It's fantastic to some regards at home. And I don't know if Tennessee, with all of their mishaps defensively, can go in there and get the win unless they play a little bit of what is not their style and they don't go tempo. And they lean on an Alabama defense, Joe, who, by the way, is 93rd in the country in run defense. 93rd. Now, you can say you contained and slowed down Missouri, fair, but you still gave over. I mean, it's not like Ahmad Hardy and Roberts and Perbula were technically stopped. I felt like when you watch that game, it felt like Missouri felt like that they were down by 4 touchdowns and having to throw the ball all over the place. Tennessee can run the football at a very alarming rate, and they're very physical. That offensive line that was a problem last year is not a problem right now. Joe, I think Lance Hurd is playing at a level, even though he was hated on a lot last year. Joe, he might be an all-SEC guy midway through the season. He's projected to be an all-SEC left tackle. Can they kind of play a little bit more conservative and lean on a run defense that's been spotty? And if they do, I think that they can definitely be in this game. But you're going to have to slow some things down because your secondary has been so bad. And Ty Simpson's just not the guy that you want to keep giving possessions to keep counteracting you and throwing the football all around on you.
So 2 things. You brought up the Jam Miller concussion situation. I do think that is critical because Alabama's run game started to regain life the minute that he came back, and then now we're losing him again potentially if he's not in the game. I don't have a ton of faith that they're going to find success running the football. It has been a serious problem for them that when they don't have Miller on the field, they just can't find ways to make things work. Mm-hmm. One thing about this is it's a bit of a misconception that Tennessee's defense is just overall bad. The secondary health availability issues with Jermon McCoy, who knows if he's ever going to come back? Is this a Cam Rising type of a situation where, hey, he might come back, and then he just never steps on the field unless there's something that I'm missing? Maybe by the time this is published during the week, we find out he's ready to play and we look silly. But the Volunteers this year, they are leading the SEC in sacks, 26. They also are second in takeaways with 11. Alabama has allowed 13 sacks on the year. That is the 4th worst in the SEC. So for them to produce success, and it's also worth noting, though, Alabama has only turned the ball over twice. They've been
in the country.
Yes, they have been the best team, and this has been the driving force for their success, the best team at protecting the football, and 2 of those turnovers came in the last 2 weeks. And I don't see that as a trend. I just see that as a circumstance. Blake, the path for all I was going to add there is that the path for Tennessee to steal this game and win on the road is they got to get those pressures. They got to get after Ty Simpson. They have to take advantage. I got to see Joshua Josephs make a big play and come downhill and to play to his potential of what he's starting to show as a NFL pass rusher. The issue that cost Georgia is that their pass rush was so non-existent that they couldn't get after Simpson, and he had a clean pocket all day. I'm very curious, and this is part of what caused the game to slow down a little bit for Bama in the middle quarters, was when Zion Young and Damon Wilson started to get after Simpson. What happens in this game going up against this pass rush, this defensive line? Does Simpson still play as well? And after the fact, if he does play well, then I feel like we'll be pretty vindicated in our statements that he should win the Heisman if he steps up to the challenge.
Can Joey Aguilar play a clean game?
Yeah.
You know, he's still on pace to have the same amount of interceptions that he had a season ago. And Joe, listen, from my perspective, I get hit a lot on the team that I cover about my quarterback turning the ball over too much. Well, Joey Aguilar does the same thing. And when you keep turning the ball over and you keep giving really good offenses chances, that's why Arkansas is so close. That's why Arkansas game is so close. Had no business being that close. None. But it is. I think that they're going to get after Aguilar. I see Bama as a team that the injury statuses do worry me about this being closer than maybe the experts think. And our friends over at FanDuel say it's at 9.5 for Bama. But Aguilar's got to play a clean game. You know, he came out slinging and punching against Georgia. But this Bama secondary has been pretty damn elite. Joe, they're 3rd in the country in passing yards allowed with 136 pass yards per game. They've done a lot of really good things. Dijon Lee is done some really good things. And I just look at this situation and ask myself, can Aguilar for once play a clean game? Because if you don't and you keep giving Ty Simpson possessions and you keep allowing them to do it, then they're going to find ways to beat you. What worries me about Bama is Jam Miller's status. If I knew that he was playing, I would feel pretty confident that they're going to win this one, but they have not been able to run the football without him, and that would make me a little bit nervous.
I'd just also like to add in on the Tennessee side of things for what helps set up their potential. Deshaun Bishop had a phenomenal game against Arkansas, and there's I believe he's a little bit banged up, but his production, I think, is really crucial for them being having a really solid offensive output in this game. You brought up Aguilar being clean and playing well. I do really think that if we get the version of Aguilar that played in the first half before he had his turnovers against Georgia, Tennessee wins this game. I think that they can. I think that he can go shot for shot. I think he can make a lot of big plays. I think he can set up this Tennessee team to win, but he has to be turnover free. They can't give the ball back up to a short field for Ty Simpson to work with. Otherwise, that is going to be a recipe for disaster, and especially on the road.
I don't think he can. I think people are who they are. And you've shown me nothing. I mean, yes, the first half versus Georgia was great, but you keep turning the ball over, my guy. And Joe, I think people, when people show us who they are, we got to just realize who they are. Now, excuse me. Tennessee's at 22nd in the country in run offense, rushing offense. They got to slow this thing down. I know Bishop, as you said, is a little nicked up, but they got to find a way because there's not a way. I don't think Tennessee can go into Alabama and win without continuously doing what they've been doing in the run game, and this one be close. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Bama to win. I don't know if I'm going to take them to cover.
Yeah.
But I think that Jam Miller will be back. I do think that they're getting better, and your secondary's been so bad, I think Ty Simpson's able to carve you up in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and we'll see what this line ends up moving, but I agree with you. I don't know. 9.5 seems pretty big. Is a pretty tense rivalry. Tennessee could score points in bunches. They're losing a lot of close games, or they're winning a lot of close games at the moment, which makes me think that they would lose a close game to Alabama. They wouldn't get beaten by 10 points.
Unless that secondary just continues to be complete hot garbage. So,
yeah,
we'll see.